Hey, how's it going, my friends? We're back, and just by looking at the picture, you guys can see like it's very anti-Puritan, like anti Protestant, I guess, like the view that a lot of those guys, like not every denomination, but some of them, they're very like, oh, sex is wrong, sex is dirty. Well, these guys seem happy after sex, so I made sure to do that like editorial edit, like that like correction to make sure that like yeah, like these guys had sex, no big deal, it's a fun thing. So anyway, guys, so congratulations. Today's video is what to do after sex, and this is the end of the method, and the future entries are gonna be on more clarification on what happens if you don't get results, or what happens if, like, what should you do to stay safe, like all these ideas that are not necessarily like the method, but they're complementary. So anyway, guys, so what to do after sex. Congratulations, honestly, if you made it here, you're doing excellent. Many guys will never see the other side of glory, and I take this from Mission of Burma, because those guys were saying that this post-punk band, they were saying, oh, like the underside of folly, but I was like, what about if we say the other side of glory, the side of success? Because people, when they see glory, like sure, like they also see like the negative stuff, like it's a complex concept, guys, so let's just continue. But anyway, so you could rest on your laurels. However, if you're living in a big and fast-paced big city, and mainly in the English-speaking countries, but it could also be on the Western ones, you need to move fast. This actually will ensure that you will see the girl again and hopefully get into a mini relationship with her. The problem with most theories and ideas online by coaches, gurus, and others is they come from the insecure attachment framework. So this is actually a theory, and it's very complex, so I'm just gonna focus on the basics, that where many Anglos who live in a highly competitive society are taught not to show emotion or be emotionally attached, or they show emotion in peculiar ways that are counterproductive for their goals, like they become overly attached. And this is a completely separate topic, guys, and like I'll write about attachment theory. If you're seeing this after watching attachment theory, welcome, you'll get this faster. But if not, just try to like follow the video. Don't get bogged down on the details, So they're difficult ideas to explain, since I didn't grow up in a Protestant culture, hence I don't have an instinct towards moral condemnation or expressing intense feelings. But my idea is to view sex as no big deal. And Mystery actually said that. This guy, Mystery, is really good, actually. Like, he's probably like, he definitely wrote the blueprint of this PUA stuff. Like, anyway, so, but the idea is to take sex as no big deal. My view is all of this advice is to act like a natural or try to build something out of what has transpired. So let her sleep over. And honestly, yeah, sure, Mystery had some help, because like the community definitely like knows what's up. But the idea is that just see it as no big deal. Let her sleep over. This is more of a gentleman move. If a girl hooked up with me, I'll let her sleep that night. Since I'm thankful she hooked up, I think this would be a secure attachment strategy. I don't overly attach to her, but I think it's cool what she did and would like her to stay. I also don't have animosity towards her. Some guys do. Since they'll be judgmental and said, oh, she's a slut for hooking up. And this is what my former mentor Psych told me, that like, just never be judgmental. And a lot of these guys, and that's why I didn't write like the Rouge B like community. Like those guys, like they have good ideas, but some people in those groups, they're always like, oh, this slut hooked up or something like that. Like it's very negative and it's very judgmental, and it's counterproductive. Also, there's a lot of guys who want to be cool, and maybe they learn it from the whole bang bro stuff, where like the guy is like a douchebag and then drives off, and the girl just stays there, and like this idea of kicking her out, like to me all this stuff is weird, and it comes from insecure attachment, honestly. I would simply advocate being a high value guy and letting her sleep over. Like if she hooked up with you, or with me, I'll be thankful. So like, sure, just stay over, no big deal. Like my feelings are clear, I don't have this weird insecure attachment and all this like stuff, I'm just very like clear, like, hey, yeah, heart on my sleeve, I guess, like, yeah, I'm very clear, and I would let her sleep over. And the whole cuddling thing depends on the girl. If she wants to do it, sure. If she doesn't, then that works as well. Like I wouldn't overthink it. Like if she wants to cuddle with me, like I had a girl who just cuddle with me, like sure, let's do it, like no big deal. Like I don't think about it. I'm not like overly conscious about like dynamics, all this stuff. It's just weird to me. So get her breakfast and call her a Uber. So many people might think this is a nice guy move. However, this is actually a natural move. And a girlfriend of mine told me she hooked up with a natural. We get a lot of girls. Natural we get them fruit salad and then call them a Uber. If you have your life together, this should be inexpensive. Again, guys, there'll be another series on that, getting your life together. But anyway, so a fruit salad is $10 or less, and an Uber is around $20. You can also Uber your date to her parking or to the nearest bus and train station. So yeah, guys, so mostly you should only spend $30, but like it's no big deal, honestly. Like if you're making like $3,000 a month, like what is $30? You know, like, and usually you can even Uber her to like a train station in the morning, or to a bus station, or just to her parking as well. Like if you live in, like, I don't know, like California or something like that, like, or Las Vegas, you can just Uber her to her parking and then she'll just drive. This works since girls use all their senses, and eating fruit will be associated with you. So if she's eating strawberries or something like that, like she'll just associate that with you. Like honestly, it's not that intellectual actually. Like this stuff is just very simple and very like, yeah, just get her breakfast and Uber her. It's just a gentleman move. It's not like a nice guy move. That's different. So I agreed to meet her 1 or 2 days from then. If you live in a big city and she's hot, you will be competing with a lot of guys. For instance, with one of the girls who I hooked up with, film directors, guys who own yachts, and actors, they all try to bang her, and a few of them might have already done it, you know? Thereby, your competition is intense. You need to move fast with this girl and get her to meet 1 or 2 days after you hooked up, at least to solidify something. This has set me from blue pills and PUA coaches, since they assume the girl has nothing else to do but hang out with you, when the opposite is the case. Most likely you're an afterthought. Even if she hooked up with you, what I would do is meet her at my place to have sex again and then go eat somewhere. So this is actually like, Rouge said this, but like I think he did it because he had more experience. He traveled the world, like he was well versed, and he noticed that most girls right now, like they don't have any attachment. Again, in the Western cities, or even in the English-speaking cities, big cities as well, like they'll just be, oh, okay, cool, like I hooked up with him, like fine, like and forget about it, you know, like you'll be an afterthought. That's why like you need to move fast and then determine your goals. So this is really important, guys. What is your goal with this girl? Do you want it to be a one-night stand, fuck buddies, mini relationship, long-term girlfriend? You need to think fast, and this is so important, guys, because many coaches, gurus, blue pillars, and others will have this multiplicity of terms and ideas. And the coach is like, oh, you want her to be your fuck buddy or want to stand? All this stuff in his mind, he's telling you all this stuff while the girl's already gone. You know, you're already lost while you're figuring all this like stuff out. So they fail to see that this is a highly competitive environment. These guys think that a hot girl who lives in a big city is just by her phone waiting for you to call her, because you're the quote-unquote alpha who banged her. This is completely false, you know? Like, most likely she has tons of other guys. In reality, if she's hot, she'll be at a boat party with promoters, frat guys, rich dudes, and sugar daddies. Plus, there'll be other hot girls who are bi and will also compete for her attention. I noticed this after as well. Like, I was like, wait, what? Like, you're also led to believe you're going to call her on the boat, and the captain will say, see, you're just gonna like call her, and the captain will be like, hey guys, Jenny's friend Jimmy is calling now. Let's all be quiet while he figures out his feelings and tries to game that game his coach has taught him, to string her along. You know what I mean? It's never gonna happen, guys. Like the captain's still gonna be like, hey guys, let's help Jimmy, like keep on banging her, you know? Like what will most likely happen is that you will call, it'll be really loud, and she'll say something like, who is this, and then her female friend will say, who is that? And she'll say, oh, it's some random guy. She won't even say like, oh, it's Jimmy. She'll just say, oh, it's some random guy I partied with the other night. Her friend will say, oh, just block him. And then you'll be ghosted. Like, honestly, guys, like, most of you guys, like, it's not what you want to hear. You know, you want to hear that Jenny is by her phone, like Tyler said, just waiting for you. And she's like, oh, Jimmy, you know, like, this awesome guy and stuff like that. When most likely she just forgot about you, like, 1 or 2 days after, like the iPhone theory, like, you know, there's always a new iPhone, and then she'll be at the boat party, and then, like, her friend will be just ghost him, you know, and that's over. And they try to get her in a mini relationship, and this is my method, what I'm saying and advocating for. So it can definitely happen. Honestly, this is a likely scenario. The more the weeks go by, like that you lose. That's the scenario. You lose. The coach will tell you, move on to another girl, bro. She's off the rotation, bro. So the coach will always frame it that way, like, oh, whatever, man. Like you lost. Whoa, just move on to another girl, bro. There are many mistakes that coach and others make that they think you mass approach again, or you're spending hours on gaming to bang another girl. And this is a mistake that coach make, because most of the optimal coaches, which is a minority of coaches who have good game, is that they dedicate their lives to this. So they're just gonna spend hours and hours, or like weeks, to just get on another day, and then like even like months to like get another girl like that. You know what I mean? Like these guys are dedicating their life to that, but they fail to see it, because like they're so focused on that they're just like or on execution problem. They'll think they can string that girl along and keep banging her without doing any form of commitment, since your game is super tight. So it always goes back to this idea, like, whoa, if your game is super tight, it's conceptually possible to just keep stringing her along and just keep on banging her and all this stuff. You know, it's always theoretical. And then the execution is like, yeah, but he's like a master PUA, like 10 out of 10 game, like, yeah, he can do it, because this is the optimal move. But they fail to see, well, what if you're just an average guy who managed to do things right, and then you're trying to do all this, like, quote-unquote weird stuff. I don't think it's that weird, but complex stuff. And then you messed up, and then you lose, you know, like, and it can definitely happen. So my advice is, if you don't like her, I would move on. And you don't even need to move on, man. Like, honestly, like, in this day and age, all you do is, like, you messed up one more time, she'll just block you and say, like, oh, okay, cool. Like, she won't even say that. She just won't text you. And then that coach, you'll ask her, and the coach will tell you, oh, bro, she was just a time waster. You know, it doesn't matter. So you'll be back in square one. But if you do like her, then the obvious step is to get her in a mini relationship, which I'll talk about in the future. But honestly, like, this concept, Rich talked about it briefly, but other guys who are really good as well, like, this is the future, like, mini relationship. Guys who are already getting laid, like, they're trying to get into that. So the main advice is to be a gentleman and try to get her into a mini relationship. The problem is that most of the manosphere works on the attraction model, that you're a very attractive guy who can string any girl along and bang her continuously without offering any form of commitment. So yeah, this is the ideal of these guys. They're like the whole, I don't even want to say it, but whatever, chat or whatever, chase, that you're like, and I met a guy like that, and he was asking me for advice anyway, but like, that you're in this massive chat and he's just gonna like string every girl along. Like, it's weird, and when reality what happened, the girl might hook up with you one or twice, but then move on and ghost you. And even if you do that, like, hey, let's just be friends with benefits, and I've done this, and some friends have done this as well, and the girl's like, oh yeah, sure, and then like you can like I guess keep it up for like a few more weeks, and then she'll just ghost you. You know, like, it's because these guys assume the girl has no agency, and you're like have super agency, you know, and like she's just like, oh, there's a guy with a boat, or hey, this famous actor, and then like, oh yeah, Jimmy, and then she won't even say Jimmy, she'll just won't answer again. So because she ghosted other guys before, like, she's constantly ghosting people, and this is what you guys don't see, and you'll be back on square one. And that's a huge thing, guys. The whole square one is the idea that, like, oh, okay, so say this, you're like some beginner, you spend 1 month doing this whole game stuff, and you finally bang a girl on like October 30th or something, all for your coach and all your quote-unquote mentors telling you, yeah, man, just keep on like trying to string the girl along and don't offer her any commitment, quote-unquote. And then you're like, oh, sure, bro. And then like 2 weeks later, the girl just ghosts you, and you're like, oh, what happened? You know, what happened? And then like coach is like, oh, just move on, bro. Like, really? Like they're not seeing all the effort time you're putting in just to lose in the end. So what you need to do is to get into some type of relationship. It doesn't need to be monogamous. So this is so important, guys, because like I feel, at least in the Anglosphere, the idea is that if you're dating someone, it has to be monogamous. But I kind of dispute that now, because it's gotten so competitive that I think what's smart is try to date the girl, get her in some form of relationship, and start making moves from there, as opposed to just trying to like string her along and stuff like that. Because like if you do that kind of thing, you'll lose. I noticed like in other countries and stuff, like I've noticed like France, South Korea, like all these other countries, like if you kiss a girl or if you bang her, she's already sort of like seeing you, so she's just not gonna ghost you. But like in the Anglosphere, like, whoa, if you messed up, like she'll just ghost you, even if you hooked up with her. They make it seem like the opposite. But anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. See you next video. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.